Hello, this is Agriculture Research Council of Nigerian Television. My name is Joshua Ishaya and the program is Aqua Farming. Today on Aqua Farming, we are in faraway Niger State at Proton Integrated Oil and Farms. We'll be talking to a fish farm caretaker and he's going to be telling us the profitable way to farm fish. So if you're out there looking forward to finding all you need to know on how to start a fish pond with a low amount of capital, or rather with a huge amount of capital, this is the program to be, where we'll be telling you all it takes to have a profitable harvest at the end of it all. So come with me as we embark on this interesting episode of the program Aqua Farming.
My name is Victor. Fish farming is actually a lucrative business that elevates an individual, community, or society from poverty to wealth. That's just the definition of I knows what fish farming is all about. So, one of the things as a novice, if you want to go into fish farming, you first of all go look for experts, a sincere one, to ask about the business, or better still, go for a training in a farm. It should put you all the things you need to know about fish farming before you as an individual can go into fish farming. But me as a person, fish farming is actually a lucrative business that I think if a retired individual, someone that needed to add to his income, a working class individual can actually verge into, because there are large demand for fish farming for fish consumption in Nigeria. One of the things a novice supposed to do first was to go to a reliable farm. But before going to a reliable farm, you need to have a space where you want to rear them. First, if it is a land that belongs to you, and the land must have availability of water, which is one of the basic important thing about fish. Water, it's one of the paramount thing you don't need to play with. So first of all, you need to look for land, and if you don't have land, you need to, if it is a rented house, that means that rented apartment should have water, availability of water, either the borehole or the well water that will be available for you to use. That's the first important thing. You need to have a space where you want to rear the fish first, then before you now go into other things. Tap water, some of us use tap water. All we just need to do is to sterilize the tap water, that's all.
What does it take to sterilize the tap water?
Well, all you just need to do is to find, the normal charcoal. That's the basic thing that is available. You tie the charcoal inside the tap water, and it will help you to repair it, sterilize it for you. That's all. I prefer the 18 pond because sometimes we have what we use, garbage in, garbage out. In trampoline, in concrete pond, it is what you give them that they feed on. But in 18 pond, sometimes they go down to feed on all these microorganisms, and sometimes the soil itself, because some food will drop down, mix with the soil. And as they mix with the soil, it becomes food for themselves. So sometimes if the food are not available, the fish go down to eat from the soil in the ground. So that is why most people prefer 18 pond. But for trampoline, I always advise person, you use trampoline if the land is not yours, because you cannot invest into the land and after sometimes the owner of the land asks for it. But if it is trampoline, it's movable. So you can use trampoline if the land is not yours. But if the land is yours, there's no need to go into use of trampoline. All you just need to do is to use the concrete or the 18 pond, depending on the land and how the land is. Well, it depends on the you and your capacity. That's why this one has a roof of it, because we did not plant plantains around it. Okay. You understand me? You have to have trees to provide shade for the water because of the direct sun radiation. Okay. That is the use of it. So sometimes if you don't have resources to put a roof, all you just need to do to plant trees around it. Mostly some people use plantain because it provides more or cooling environment for the fish. That's why it's very, very important, so that it will not change the temperature of the water. Well, at the point you don't change water completely. You do what we call flow through. Water comes in and go out. Water comes in and go out for a particular hours. Even in concrete, sometimes we do flow through. You understand? Okay. So that water can comes in and go on. As water come in within 2-3 hours, it has changed and increased the oxygen level of that water. So that's the most important thing about the earthing pond. Well, the major problem is the technical know-how. Okay. That's the major problem. If you are not informed, you'll be deformed. So definitely, if you find things like that, that means that person is not informed properly. If you come to our farm to pick fingerlings from us, either standard juvenile or juvenile itself, or post juvenile, or even the tokumbo, or whichever you want to pick. So we always informed them, and we always do what we call follow up. Ask them sometimes, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, how far is the fish doing? What are you experiencing? So that we can help that person out with his issue. So most important thing is you buy fish pond, you buy fish from a particular farm, and there is no technical know-how. Well, in fish pond, we don't do mostly like vaccination. It is in poultry. We do more or less of vaccination. Well, that's why I told you first, when you want to pick a fingerlings, you pick from a reliable farm. Because all the liquid critters of the things, the farm will have handled it. They would have done the proper treatment. They would have done anything they should have done. Do you understand me now? And they will give you a reliable breed. Like the incident that I went to Mina for recently, last 2 weeks. I went to Mina and also last week to check 2 farms, and I was telling the people to just smoke their fish and eat. And then, they bought the fish from a farm which I don't really know, but they called my attention into it. For 2 months the fish are still on standard fingerlings. That means they are not more than my fingerlings. So I was like, why you people don't ask? They said they asked before they went to buy. The person is from a reliable source they introduced them to. So when you buy a bad breed, definitely, even if you feed them with everything, your required result, you will not have it. You understand me now? The required result, you will not have it. So first, you must get a reliable breed, a good breed from a good farm. That is the first important thing if you are ready for fish farming.
What makes a good farm?
Tested and trusted. Okay. Somebody has picked from that farm and they've seen results. You understand me now? Somebody informed this breed is good. That's what makes a farm a reliable farm. And one thing is important that most of the breeders do it. They use what we call the same progeny to breed. I carry the mother and the son, breed them together. So definitely you only have the same result of the mother, and continuously they breed the same progeny type, the same family. You understand me now? Definitely, if you have a good breed, you have to bring in another different family to it, because that family carry the same other genes that were not present in this gene. When they are crossbreed, you discover that it will have a fast growth. That's one thing. Everybody has his own perspective. For me, I prefer eating. Low economical, low feeding. Do you understand me? Your results are wow. Do you understand me what I'm saying? So, but one thing with earthing pond, it's the way you stock in concrete, you don't stock the way in earthing pond. I can put in fingerlings 7-8 weeks old in my earthing pond, comfortable. Even if 6 weeks I can put it, but you don't dare it in what? Concrete earthing pond. I can put it on concrete pond, but you don't dare it what? On earthing pond. Earthing pond, you should put, if you want a good result, especially a starter, you must put what we call standard fingerlings, or standard juvenile. Okay. Standard juvenile. Before, if you're a novice, better you put standard juvenile into your earthing pond not fingerlings, not standard fingerlings. In fact, if I even recommended, don't put what juvenile into your, if you are not into the system for a long time, you don't dare it, because you will start observing. This morning you wake up, you see 10, 15, you understand me, now debt. Because before you stock into your eating, there are some process you need to put into. And there are some drugs, which are discussion for another day, that you need to put into the eating. You should do the local feed yourself. You should do the local feed yourself. Highest is the differences is this, what you don't understand it. When you are doing your local feed and the fish are within the range of 2 months, give them at most, if it's my own, I give them what? 50-50. That's 50% CP, crude protein, 50% what? Carbohydrate. That's how I do. But when they are 6 months, I only drop it down to what? 30 to 35 to 40 of what? CP, that's crude protein, because then I wanted weight. At this point, I wanted more weight, not growth. But at the early stage that you wanted more growth, you put what? You add your CP, which is a crude protein. That's the normal thing you do.
So what are the major ingredients to make a fish food?
Depending on the one you can actually afford. Yes, a good one. Highest, mostly you just find your G-nut granite.
Okay.
Your granite. Then you find your soya beans. You find your fish meal. Depend either the local one. And the fish meal are of different category. You have the local fish meal, which is about 50% CP protein content, and we have one that is about 71 to 75%. But we have different type of fish. Now the other local one is combination of different heads of different fish that you buy and combine them together. We call it more of the local one. Some people prefer that. Then we have one we use, which mostly people prefer, mostly like we that wants to do. We call it werengi. That's the name. It's more like crayfish, but it's not crayfish. It has an offensive odor like that. One fish like that. Hausa people have it more with them. So that one, you have about 71 to 75% of protein in it. So we mostly use that than the local one. But sometimes we get from that one, then mix it with different combination of heads of fish that you buy from market. You mix them together, then you grind. That is how we mostly do it. Fish is actually easy business that an individual that have other job can actually goes into. You understand? You just have your timing. I feed them so time to so period. You go there, you feed them. If it is time to open the water, you open the water for them. They will be fine. It's not that you stay there from morning to evening, except when you are dealing with the fingerlings. You understand? But if you are dealing with the rearing, you do what you need for in the morning, then you go on other business. If it is time for you to do the feeding for the next time, you just do it. And we have machines too for feeding. We have machines. I think if not for here, if not that I wasn't well prepared, I would have bring machines. One of the machines we have here for feeding of fingerlings. We have machines. You time the time. It will tell when the time reach. If it is 2 hours feeding you want, to drop the quantity of the right feed you want. Even in this thing, I was telling the director here that brought it for me. So we have it here, but it's just that you just have to fix it. When you want it to feed twice in a day, even if you are not around, that you want to come back in the evening and you want it to feed your fish for you, he will do that. There are machines for feeding. Well, if you want to raise a 1 kg fish, depending on the time, because most of the people that comes to ask me is, first of all, we all knows that 1 kg of fish, you need 65 bags. This is the calculation. This is a simple calculation. If you comes to me to ask for fish farming and you said, oh, I want to go into fish farming and I wanted, I have 1,000 fish. I want to go into it to start with 1,000 fish. I will ask you, what's your level of your capacity? What's your pocket? That's one thing about fish. You don't need to spend that. I feed this fish so much and I don't have required resources. So what you needed to do is this: 67 bags will give you 1 ton. That is 15 times 65. 67, it will give you 1,700. That is about 1 ton. And that 1 ton will feed your 1,000 fish to table size. Now that 1 tons, that means that each one fish will weigh 1 kg to table size. One fish will weigh 1 kg. That means that's the least of it. One fish will weigh 1 kg. Except majority of them inside your pond will weigh 1 kg using the 65 bags. Now, you can use 200 kg. You can use 300. You can use 400. You can use 500. You can use 600. You can use 700. That means 600 grams, 700 grams, depending on your capacity. But it is what you use to feed them that you get your result back. Do you understand me? That's just the most important thing. So if you have only resources for 300 kg, 300 gram of food, kg of food, then you buy the 300, you multiply it times how many months you want to feed them. You want to feed them for 6 months. You want to feed them for 7 months. You want to feed them for 4 months. You want to feed them for 3 months. With that 300 or that 65 bags, it's left for you. It's all for you to do the calculation, and we feed them to that range. That means every morning if I go to my fish, this is the quantity of amount of feed I want to give them. That's how they did it. But some of them will prefer to keep it to 7 months. The longer you keep the fish, the more weight. The longer you keep a fish, the more of the weight. That's just the most important thing about it. If you have a fish, all moves. All moves. Like me, if you have available customer, I prefer dry fish, selling of dry fish. Why? Because it's more economical. You have more resources to that. If you can really do the drying and all of the stuff, you can really garnish the fish well. And to me, I have more resources on it than the fresh. Okay. But for those that go into the fresh one, it is also economical, not that you will not get your resources back. One thing is, if you invest 200K into a fish farming, put it at the back of your mind. If with a better advice, when you follow the rules and the regulations that are involved and how to manage the fish well properly, you still have times of your result. That means you have your 100%. If you don't have your 100%, you have to have between 90 to 95% of your money back, plus the interest, 95% of your money back. That's one thing. All the fish are good, okay, depending on the farm that produce it. That's one of the most important thing. The only issue here is this. Like our farm, we have hybrid. Hybrid is very, very good. Little feed, high result. Claras eats more food, but they'll still give you a result. Longifilins also give results. The only issue is this: the growth rate differs. Now, there are some, what we don't understand is the maximum growth of some of the breed start from 6 months. They will grow, but if you want to see better growth, they start from 6 months upward. Some start from 4 months to 6 months. The growth stop. Okay. You just feed them, but the growth is not as
Why
good.
Is that?
That's the different breed they have. So we always prefer what hybrid. Now in Abuja metropolis and all these farms here now prefer hybrid because it grows faster. To give you hybrid is just combination of Etrobancus and other breeds. Etrobancus with that claras or Etrobancus with longifilins. You understand? That is where you get your hybrid. Some people mix claras with longifilins and said it's the hybrid. Do you understand me? Now you still get a better result. So here we have hybrid. You have combination of hybrids and other breeds. So we mix and produce different results. That is why sometimes if we get opportunity of going to hatchery, if you look at our hatchery, if I show you a 3 weeks old fish that have started consuming 0.7 since yesterday, they were 3 weeks old on Saturday. So yesterday I was now looking at them because the 0.5 they were consuming it as normal. So I asked to try the 0.7 and they consume it better. So that's one of the things. And the 0.7 is supposed to be at 6 weeks. You should understand what I'm trying to say now. I am giving 0.7 that I'm supposed to give at 6 weeks at what? 3 weeks. So breed is actually, all the breeds are good, but depending on the one the farm have. But one thing is, if they give you clearance, put it at the back of your mind, you consume more of your food. When they give you hybrid, less feed, more result. That's why most people prefer hybrid now, because they grow faster. If you have the machines and you are into business for long, you can buy a fish, can buy a fingerlings from any farm and rear them yourself. But it's possible. Yes, it's possible. All you just need to do is, depending on what you buy. If you buy standard or post-standard from a farm, for instance, I bought post-standard from a farm, I can use local 2mm to start with them. Local one. I can even mold it with my hands. All is just to sit down and mold the food. One of my customer that went into the fish farming for 4 months ago bought 4,000 pieces of hybrid from us. So he stocked it. And after he feed them with 2mm, the other day he called me and he said, I told my wives that they should be molding it with their hands. And I was just laughing that he will be paying them. Now, I went to the farm and I saw what he did. And I was seeing the local way with the zinc, the wives mold the fish. It's my phone. I was like, wow. People have really improved. So you can, as individual, to feed them with the feed you provided or you made for them. And the feed was rich because he added eggs and all that things into it. We have some fish in this farm that the MD, before I came in, some of the fish are 5 years old. Wow. Some of the fish here are 5, 3, 4, 2. The minimum I think we have in this pond now, it's 18 months here. It's our choice. They give us results. We keep most of them for stock, for breeding. You understand me now? So if the fish has wounds all over their body, probably one, they might have injuries within themselves. Maybe you don't feed them properly, or sometimes they injure themselves. All you just need to do is to pick it out, treat it, return it back. So that will not be. That's why I said, if you come to us to buy fingerlings or to buy standard from us, what we normally do is we ask you, how many months do you want to rear this fish you want to take? That's the first thing we asked you. If you tell us so month, we will sit you down. Okay, this is how much do you plan that you want to invest into the feeding? That's the second question. Now, when you give us, they will now sit down. You go and buy the whole food that you need. We make sure you buy the whole food. When you buy the whole food, we now calculate daily what you'll be giving those fish till that month you wish you said you want to harvest them. That's one thing. Because you don't go into fish and you just stock it. You said, I'll be giving them this food you will run out, because sometimes you will not have resources in your with you to buy the fish for them. Then you will now be running at a scatter to borrow resources to, you understand me now, to feed them. That's one thing with us here. I have to ask you, how many months? Most of them will say 4 months. I say, fine. What is your capacity? You said, okay, I think I can invest 200,000. I think I can invest 300,000. I think I can invest 400,000 into the feeding. They will now multiply it. How much will that give us as feed? Do you understand me now? Then we'll now sit down. We'll now say, okay, give your fish so and thing. Now, if you tell us that you want to use, you have 1,000. This is one thing, is it? This is one thing about fish. You said, okay, I want to invest 300,000 naira into the fish farming. Maybe now the 300,000 maybe might give us I've not done the calculation, but maybe you want to invest and you say, I have 300 kg. That means that's 300 kg of fish or feed you can afford to the till the time you want to harvest them. Now that 300 kg, if I divide and multiply to 1,000, that means after your harvest, majority of your fish there will be weighing 0.3. Do you understand what I'm trying to bring now? That means you have you have to combine 3 fish to give you 1 kg. I will tell you everything, reality. Now,
if you are putting 1,000.
if you are putting 1,000, majority will be 0.3 kg. So you don't, what you're going to harvest in the next 5 months, we are going to tell you approximately the resources you are going to have in return. Now, if you said, okay, I have 500 gram to go into it, that means majority of your fish, the 1,000, will be 0.5. Okay. That is just the calculation in it. So we have to give you all the whole estimate of it. So if you said, okay, I have 700, that means majority of the fish, that means almost about 80% will be more than what? Will be between 0.7 upward. Few we just see with 0.5, you understand me now? But majority will fall within the rate of 0.7. That is how it is about fish farming. So that's why I said you need to ask. But if it comes to Ross, mostly if you asked, we'll explain to you. Like we here, if you informed, since we've been into the business for long, we knows people that buy it from you. You understand? So depending on your location, if you buy from us and you want to sell it, you are ready to sell it. All you just need to do, even if you contact us, we call people buyers for you, because buyers are always on ground. Okay. Buyers are always on ground. Even if down to New Busa, people go from Abuja here to New Busa to pack fish. So where would they not go to go and bring fish? As far as it's plenty, as far as it's much that they can buy from, you always see customers to buy. Customers are always available if it is fish farming. Fish farming is a poverty alleviation program. Okay. It's a poverty alleviation where you don't, you do fish farming. It's I looked at it as a leisure activities. You do it at ease. Your resources comes in and you go on doing other business. Okay. Like for instance now, I'm here, still managing this farm. I also have my own farm. Sometimes I harvest. And I also have other 1 or 2 activities I does again. So, and it doesn't affect it. So you can do fish farming and also continue with other business. That's one of the things. It's not that it's not like poultry, you just go, sorry to my poultry colleagues. Not like poultry, you just go out and after some hours you come, you saw mortalities everywhere. No, fish will always give you sign. They will always give you fine. If you have a problem, if you will encounter any problem, you will have it to give you sign.
Of course, it's Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Television, and the program has been Aqua Farming. I'm sure you've learned a lot from this episode of the program, where we took you as far as Niger State, where we brought you to Proton Integrated Oil and Farms. And of course, Mr. Victor did justice to the topic of discussion, talking about profitable way to start a fish farm in Nigeria. Until some other time, have yourself a very splendid time. Remember that farming is the next boom to oil. Stay tuned.